have to see this, folks, because the guy on the right, his name is Dallas Woodhouse, and he is the head of the North Carolina Republican Party. But in this exchange with Don Lemon, he comes off like a real asshole. He is really intent on saying there has been no voter suppression and that blacks and the NAACP who complain who have no case because, as he says, there's been more early voting than ever, which really is like mixing apples and oranges in terms of an argument. But the bottom line is, I was hoping that Don Lemon would just sort of boot this guy, but let's watch what happens. Watch this. This guy is a total loon.
Your seasonal report. There's been no voter suppression in North Carolina. Republican boards of election, we offered more early voting hours and more early voting sites than ever before in North Carolina. Yeah. What happened to Democrats as we defeated Hillary Clinton and we defeated Democrats up and down the ballot was that there wasn't a suppression problem, but a depression problem, that they didn't like their candidate. Yeah. But there were more early voting opportunities that there ever been before. So
two things. That. Number one, Suzanne is an excellent reporter. I don't know about,
Absolutely, I know her very well. She's a great reporter, but that was wrong.
And there have been tons of reports, and very well founded, of voter suppression.
Well, the North Carolina State Board of Elections, if you look at it, will show you that we have more early voting. We had more early voting hours, more early voting sites than ever before, despite the rhetoric of William and Barber and everybody else. So let's start with
but I think it's more than just rhetoric. But let's move on and get back.
Well, I mean, it's rhetoric if you don't correct the facts and acknowledge we had more early voting sites and more early voting hours than the state ever had.
That's what you believe to be the facts are, but that's not exactly.
That is what the State Board of Elections reports.
Okay.
I tell you what, why don't you fact check me and bring me back?
Okay. Well, let's
kick him off.
Now we'll have to bring you back. We can just discuss what we're supposed to be discussing, and then we'll, if we want to talk about that, then we'll decide to talk about it. And maybe not with you, maybe with someone else. You've dismissed charges that there was.
Get facts right.
Okay, well let's go on then. Then if you want to be confrontational, then the viewer gets nothing out of it. But if you'd like to have a discussion where we both can discuss things without you going off on a tear, then I would like to do that. Okay, can we agree to do that?
I just want to make sure we have the facts right.
You didn't answer my question.
We provided more early voting opportunities.
Are you going to answer the question? Are you going to answer the question, or are you just going to sit here and filibuster?
Well, what's the question?
Okay, so here we go. You have dismissed these charges that there is voter suppression, but we saw in North Carolina a large number of African American voters. Early voting sites were reduced by 16 in 2012 to just 1 this year. The NAACP also had to sue to get people back on the rolls who were mistakenly purged. You don't think that's voter suppression?
We had nothing to do with any removal of voters, and I believe those people were put back on. We don't believe any legitimate voters ought to be taken off the rolls.
But I didn't ask you if it had anything to do with it, but you don't agree that that's voter suppression?
I think the facts are not wrong on that, are not right on that, but we do not favor removing legitimate voters from the rolls, and I'm not aware that anybody was kept from voting.
Okay. You wrote an email back in August, soon after a federal court struck down North Carolina's voter ID law, that county election boards should make party line changes to early voting by limiting hours, keeping polling locations closed on Sundays. So what was your intent there then?
Well, I mean, our party is not necessarily in favor of early voting. On early voting on Sundays. I would just say that I presume you live in New York and New Jersey where there's not one single day of early voting. There's not one single early day voting in Virginia. We have 17. We allow people to vote early by mail for 2 months, and we have ample opportunities. At the same time, we have a partisan system, and we have a right to advocate, our position, which is that we don't think we ought to vote early on Sundays. We think 6 days a week over 17 days is enough. But quite frankly, we weren't effective in that because we ended up voting on Sundays anyway, and we ended up having lots of early voting, and lots of people voted early. Remember, by the way, we had record turnout for early voting. We had more people vote early this year than ever before, and we're proud of them.
You don't think people should be given the opportunity to vote as many days as possible, as many hours as possible as part of the American process?
I guess we can start vote right now for 2018 or 2020 or 2022. I think.
Well, that would be interesting since we don't know who the candidates are. But
well, but I mean, you said they ought to be able to vote as much as they want forever. I'm just answering your question. Yeah. I think we have a right to have some limits. I mean, but what I would say is the bottom line is we conducted this election, sir, under the rules the Democrats crafted. 17 days of early voting. We had more early voting sites across the state than ever before, more early voting hours, and more people voted early. So I just don't know what the argument is. I mean, it's not our fault that Democrats couldn't motivate their people to come vote. They should have nominated a better candidate that excited some of their people.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's arguing, but anyway, maybe you are. Thank you, Dallas Woodhouse. Appreciate it. We come right back. The man who is leading
God,
the
this
fight
guy was
against
terrible. I mean, I mean, he's supposed to be the executive director of the North Carolina Republican Party. He came off like a complete racist bozo. I just unbelievable. And this is 2016, and that guy,
But that's not going to change anything. They're going to stay that way.
Dallas Woodhouse, he had no
Dallas
business on
Woodhouse
CNN.
And
None.
100 of them
None.
going to stay
Complete
that
joke.
way.
Complete joke.
But they're in power now. So they can say, oh, that's why he's acting like that.
Well, he might be in power, Mom, but the bottom line is it doesn't stop me from saying the fact the guy is a complete joke. Okay? Terrible. Just awful. Awful.
Good time if it was another.